Hello, welcome to my channel, Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg. La Commedia e Finita, or The Comedy is Finished. I have failed the 500 book challenge. This is something that I knew would always happen. The 500 book challenge is just too long. I truly enjoyed the 100 book challenge, which I did with Criminali and a few other people. I think there are still some people working on their 100 book challenge. But for me, the 500 book challenge was just too much. I finished my 100 book challenge in about 20 weeks. So it would take me at the same pace about 100 weeks to do the 500 book challenge, just about 2 years, maybe just shy of 2 years. But that's a long time to go without buying a book. And I didn't. I failed. As I said, I knew I was going to fail. I thought I would fail spectacularly with a bang by buying an irresistible book that I just could not say no to. No, the challenge did not end with a bang. It ended with a whimper. As I said previously, one of my exceptions was using Amazon credits. Because when I buy cat food and cat treats and cat litter and other stuff from Amazon, I usually pick delayed shipping, and they often give me a credit of $2, $1.50, something like that, to use towards digital purposes. And I've always said that is an exception, that those are allowed purchases because it is essentially a gift. Well, I had a gift from Amazon of $1.50. And I was looking over some books that I wanted. And I eventually settled on a $1.99 book. 49 cents over the limit. I didn't actually pay for it because I still had a gift card on Amazon, which I said I could use. But I'm going like, okay, I'm buying this. I spent 49 cents. And then I noticed that Amazon had a special running. If I spent $20 within the next 5 days, they'd give me an additional $4 in digital credit. And I decided to heck with the 500 book challenge, and I just went out and bought some digital books because why not? The 100 book challenge was so enjoyable, but the 500 book challenge really isn't all that enjoyable. So I am setting myself up for another 100 book challenge in November. And no more will I try the 500 book challenge because it really just is not worth it. I mean, sure, I could have held out a little bit longer, waiting for that bang of a book that would just be totally acceptable and understandable. But I went for the whimper, just because. So, what books did I end up buying recently? The book that started this whole thing that I bought for $1.99 with $1.50 of book credit was Murder in the Palace of Anubis by Linda S. Robinson. This is an historical murder mystery set in the time of Tutankhamun, ancient Egypt. And it was recommended to me by a watcher of my channel in the comments. And I saw that comment and I put it on my pile of possibilities in Amazon. And it's just the book that I chose to buy with that credit. I still think it would have been an acceptable purchase and not break the 500 book challenge, but it just weakened my resolve. And then I saw that deal. So I bought a few more books. Some of them, I think would have been acceptable in the 500 book challenge because there are rules. Like one of the rules was I can buy books by fellow booktubers, and it does not count because you're supporting your friends, and supporting your friends always trumps these silly challenges. So one of the books I bought was a little horror novella by Shannon's Bookings, Books, and Musings. Shannon Musings, Books, and Musings. You know, she's a booktuber, good friend. So I bought her book. And then I bought a couple more books. Let's see, what else did I buy? I bought The Last Days of Jericho by Thomas Brookside, an historical horror novel. I think this is set in the biblical age. I'm not quite sure. But again, this book was recommended in my comments on one of my videos. And it was there, and it was like $1.99. And I said, yeah, okay. I'm building up my 20 bucks worth of purchases with small books. I also purchased The Amazonian Uterobiosis by B.L. Overman. This author was recommended by Bad is Rad 2 in one of her books. Apparently, it's a trilogy of books, and she read the first and third book, and they're erotic horror novels featuring creatures and other such strange things. And it was highly recommended by Bad, so I went ahead and put that on my buy list. Another one I bought was Macklin's Women by J.R. Roberts. This is a Western. It can fit for either June on the Range or Garbagas 2.0, the Electric Boogaloo. Because, yeah, it's a Western, so it can fit on June on the Range, but it's a naughty Western. It is about a cowboy who gets laid a lot. And you know, nothing wrong with getting laid a lot. So it's really sort of an erotica book too. Sort of makes that Western erotica. Absolutely perfect for Garbogust. I don't know which month I will read it in. I will read it in either June or August. Another book I purchased was Across a Billion Years by Robert Silverberg. This is one of his better novels, apparently, written in 1969. He is one of America's staple science fiction writers. And this book came recommended to me. I think it came recommended from the Outlaw Bookseller. I can't quite remember who recommended, but some booktuber made me put it on my pile of possibilities. And I went ahead and purchased it. Another one I got, and this was not recommended, but I had found this just browsing through some deals, and that is Black Mouth by Ronald Malfi. This is a horror novel or a suspense thriller horror type, something like that. I used to read a lot of Ronald Malfi's novellas back 8-10 years ago when I had joined a book club from the Horror Mall or someplace like that. And the publisher was publishing a horror novella every month. So you signed up for a year and got 12 horror novellas. And he wrote a few of those, and they were pretty decent. So I remember them being decent, but I can't remember a bit of their plots other than that name stuck with me. And it was $1.99. So yeah, I had to go buy that. And was there any other books that I purchased over this past weekend? I don't think so. There were some other books that hit my purchase list, but they were acceptable purchases, or would have been acceptable purchases under the 500 book challenge. One was Monstrilio by Gerardo Samono Cordova. This is a buddy read with MJ at Reading This Life. So yes, buddy reads were acceptable purchases because when I looked at my library, there was a waiting list of a few weeks and it just wouldn't work for the buddy read. So I had to buy that acceptably. Another book was actually purchased by my wife for our in-person book group. And that was The Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead. This is the winner of a Pulitzer Prize and the story of an adolescent detention center in Florida. I have to read this for my book group either this week or the beginning of next week. I'll tell you how it is. But that are the books that made me fail my 500 book challenge. I am not at all unhappy that I failed because I always knew it was going to be a failure. And it makes me happy for next November when I get to do the 100 book challenge again. Well, thank you for watching. and keep on reading.